get up. We got another Way Back Wednesday as we are counting down the Super Bowls that were played on these days. I will come back to that one a little bit later. We're 4 days from the Super Bowl, and Sal Paolantonio is live and embedded with the Eagles, the only place he should be in New Orleans. So, Sal, let's dive into this game here. You spoke with two of the main characters in this epic season, Saquon Barkley and Nick Sirianni. What did they tell you?
Two words, Greeny: unfinished business. Specifically, Saquon Barkley. I talked to him one-on-one on opening night Monday at the Superdome. And he told me during the year, listen, I want to rewrite my story. But it's not only about going to the Super Bowl, it's about winning the Super Bowl. And Nick Sirianni remembers all too well.
Vic Fangio has been a revelation for the Eagles in year one as a defensive coordinator. I've made the point, you can make an argument he's the coach of the year in the NFL, even though he's not a head coach. How is his defense preparing for Patrick Mahomes?
It's one of the amazing stories of the NFL season, right? Vic Fangio, oldest defensive coordinator in the league, 66 years old, youngest defense in the league. I like to call it, with all due respect to Ernest Hemingway, the old man and the D. And this D has got speed at all three levels. And I was told that in his first defensive meeting here at the team hotel, he gathered the players and he showed them these numbers. They are 5-0 on artificial turf this year, giving up a ridiculously low 11.6 points per game. That's a full touchdown better than the number 2 team, the Chargers, and the number 3 team, the Vikings. They've got speed on all three levels. This is Turf Nation S5 turf that they have at the Superdome. It is designed for quote-unquote high performance, a.k.a. speed. And the Eagles have speed on defense, 5-0 this year on artificial turf.
Okay, very well done. We'll see if the sun also rises for Mahomes or for that defense in this matchup. All right, so then let's talk then finally about Jalen Hurts. It's his arm that has been the subject of so much conversation. His legs are obviously outstanding. Saquon Barkley's legs are unprecedentedly outstanding. But why is the arm of the quarterback the key to this game, in your opinion?
Because he's got to go deep early. He's got to stretch the field on the Kansas City Chiefs. Keep Justin Reed, keep Trent McDuffie, keep Steve Spagnuolo's defense honest. Get them off the line of scrimmage. Make us off the corner. Get the ball deep down the field. Loosen them up early, and then let, as they like to say, let the beast out. Let Saquon Barkley run number 26 behind the heaviest offensive line in the National Football League. You pass to score points. You run to win in the National Football League. That's the Eagles' formula. That's what I think they will do in this game.
All right, it will be a fascinating chess match to watch. Sal, outstanding. I'll be down there this evening. I'll come find you. Thank you very much for jumping in here. Let me bring it back to my crew, and let's do an expert review, which is brought to you by Tax Act. Hawk, you will put together a little tape for us here on the matchup you think is the most important in Super Bowl 59.
I'm watching Trent McDuffie on the outside for the Chiefs in press coverage because he's best in press and his defense wants to press him. But here's A.J. Brown, who is also incredible versus press. You'll see him get physical at the line. You'll also see him here where, again, you're playing within that 5-yard percentage, being able to be elusive enough to make guys miss. You'll also see him, again, be quick off the line because he's a threat on a go ball down the field, but also can separate. That's what makes A.J. Brown special, is that he can do all the things. And lastly, you'll see him put all those things together. Threaten downfield with the go ball, be physical at the point of attack, create separation. Now, when you look at A.J. Brown and you press, the reason why teams don't typically press him, whenever he's pressed, he has a 37% target rate, which means Jalen Hurts says, nothing to think about. They're pressing the best receiver in the game. I'm going to him with the football. How that matchup comes to life will dictate how the Super Bowl goes.
So do you agree with Sal that they will take some deep shots early in this game, particularly maybe to Brown?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're going to play a lot of single high because of the run game. And again, if they're pressed man-to-man, you got to throw it down the field.
Well, that run game is what you're watching, D. Wood.
Absolutely, because their offense run through Saquon Barkley. I always talk about when we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles on offense, it's a numbers game. You play 6 in the box, 7 in the box. That's Saquon Barkley all day. And if he's gaining 4, 5, 7 yards, I always say you have to earn the right to rush.
A surprise to absolutely no one. Bart is focusing on the defense and a different Jalen. It's Jalen Carter. Can we just roll that tape I like one more time as I give it to Bart here? This is one of my favorite tapes that we've seen. This is first Jalen Carter.
Look at the athleticism.
He's the guy.
Well, listen, when you talk about the last time we saw Patrick Mahomes lose the Super Bowl, it was against Todd Bowles. And how did he rattle him? A-gap pressure, right? So you talk about
right up the middle.
Right, you don't have to blitz. You have to get Patrick Mahomes off his spot. Jalen Carter may not have all the sack productivity, but he's the guy that sets the table for the pass rushers on the outside, right? He's the guy that closes the show. Interior pressure forces Patrick Mahomes to take his eyes off of the pass combinations and look at the rush and try and elude the rush. And then that's where I look for this to be the most pivotal matchup in all the game.
Yeah.
Rattling Patrick Mahomes, making him run his feet so he can't go down and break down your defense.
Graham has been hurt, but it looks like he's working his way back and will play in this game. That play that the ending there against the Rams in the snow, that reminded me of Aaron Donald closing out the Super Bowl against Joe Burrow.
Yes, exactly. Because he's so, listen, this is where maybe some of the things that happened for the Chiefs this season may come back to bite them because they had to take their best interior guy and move him outside.
So Joe Tooney.
Right, Joe Tooney. So now Jalen Carter's going to get a backup in Trey Smith and Kelly Endo. Right, so it's going to, listen, that's going to be a lot to have to deal with. And if he can get consistent pressure, I'm telling you, I like the Philadelphia Eagles.
The one thing, Trey Smith is a veritable giant of a man.
Yes, he is.
But what's the goon to a goblin, though? What's the goon to a goblin? Because that guy he going over there is different. So I don't care how big that guy is. I'm taking
Lil Wayne reference, Green.
No, I had a feeling.
Okay, I was making sure my guy is right.
What you do, you just nod like you knew what it was. And then everyone just says, "Oh, Green, you know that."
Yeah, that's right.
And then we go on.
Oh, my bad.
Coming up, way back Wednesday, Super Bowls played on this date. Super Bowl 51 in 2017, better known as 28-3. That was the deficit the Patriots were facing. Tom Brady threw for 466 yards. Here's the catch that Hawk showed you earlier by Julian Edelman. It would be the first Super Bowl to go to overtime where James White would score the game winner, his third touchdown of the night. The Patriots would pull off one of the great and consequential comeback wins in the history of sports. They won it 34-28. Okay, so with that thought in mind, Matt Ryan was the losing quarterback in that Super Bowl. He never made it back.
Yep.
Who was the youngest quarterback at the time of his second Super Bowl loss?
After much deliberation, Greeny, I mean, we had Jim Kelly. We know he lost 4. We know John Elway. Final answer, Hawk.
We're going to go with John Elway.
Wow. That's right. John Elway is correct. That is well done. In fact, he's the only one. He is the only one who's under the age of 30. It's Elway was 27 years old. Kelly was next, so you were right on it. Followed by Tom Brady, Fran Tarkenton, Craig Morton, Roger Staubach, Kurt Warner, and Peyton Manning. Very well done. So that's one kind of history. Let's talk about another.
I've never had a team that I didn't believe could win the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs have won! The Chiefs have won! You're the man! It is a dynasty!
Legendary, man. I can't say anything. I want to get 3, though.
You can't doubt the Chiefs! You can dislike the Chiefs! You're gonna have to deal with the Chiefs! A third opportunity to make history.
We're going for that 3-peat. First time in NFL history, we doing it.
So, by now you have spent 10 days hearing people say the Chiefs can make all kinds of history in Super Bowl 59. But exactly what history is it they can make? I'm glad you asked. The most obvious is they can become the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls, but you already knew that. So let's get a little more specific. Let's start with Travis Kelce. He is this win away from tying the Super Bowl record for most wins by a tight end and from becoming only the 3rd player ever to win 4 Super Bowls and be named to 7 All-Pro teams. The others are Ronnie Lott and Jack Lambert. Next up, there's Andy Reid. As he chases Bill Belichick and Don Shula on the all-time wins list, the three-peat would put him in ridiculous company in football history. Curly Lambeau and Vince Lombardi are the only coaches ever to win 3 straight NFL championships. One of them has a stadium named for him. The other is the name on the trophy. And then, of course, there's Patrick Mahomes. There are quarterbacks who have done what he has done, but no one at the pace he's doing it. A win would make him the 4th quarterback to win 4 Super Bowls, but the first to do it before turning 30. His greatness transcends the NFL in so many. Here's an example. The company he would keep with 4 titles and 2 MVPs in his first 8 seasons, that's DiMaggio, Mantle, Guy Lafleur, and Bill Russell. So you're trying to tell me I should be getting tired of these guys. That's ridiculous. We are seeing unprecedented greatness collectively and individually. I'm not sure why anyone would want me to say I've had enough of that. That's what I think. And a lot of this was when I wrote that yesterday. I did a bunch of radio interviews yesterday, and I had people all over this country saying to me, Greeny, I'm not even watching. I'm sick of the Chiefs. I can't watch the Chiefs. I'm done with the Chiefs. And that was what inspired that essay. You're tired of watching unprecedented greatness. You're tired of watching a player that someday we're going to talk about with the greatest players that ever lived in any sport. You're tired of watching a big, lovable teddy bear of a coach. And Travis Kelce was basically Rob Gronkowski reincarnate. D-Wood, help me with this. I don't understand all of the backlash.
It's easy. It's like what you had said in the meeting, Bart. About the
you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, Batman, right?
That's it. It's really that simple. I mean, listen.
Yep.
I was part of a dynasty. First we were the Q story.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you just keep winning. It's like, damn, I'm tired. Why the Patriots got to win all the time? That's where we are as a society. Look at that big fella right there.
Got a 2-pack?
Right. I mean, we were just a Q story going up against
Greatest on turf that we got tired of.
A lot of people.
The grocery store.
They looked at the greatest on turf like, okay, that's a dynasty. Then we come along. I just think that as a society, we always infatuated with what's next. What's the new toy that we could be talking about instead of just looking at, just admiring what we're watching with our own eyes right now with Patrick Mahomes and his Chiefs team.
I get excited about the Chiefs because it's like people get bored with it, and I get excited about the greatness. Like, we've never seen anybody win 3 in a row. That means for as much incredible coaching as we've had in this league, as many incredible players, nobody has been able to put together 3 championships in a row. And it does play to their greatness. If they win this, they're the best dynasty in NFL history. I mean, you look at the amount of AFC championships they've been a part of, the amount of Super Bowls.
Well,
they're what?
Modern day history, I would say.
Yes, in modern day history. Which
free agency.
I'm a millennial. That's kind of all I consider.
Rosters change fast and stuff because the 70 Steelers won 4, and that not 3 in a row.
The Steelers of the 70s won 4 out of 6 Super Bowls. The Chiefs right now are in their 5th Super Bowl in a 6-season span and could be on the verge of winning their 4th. The dynasty that would eclipse it would be what the Packers did in the 60s, the Lombardi Packers. But that's an entirely different era. We don't consider that modern football.
Right.
The dynasties that we would be talking about in this context are the Steelers of the 70s, the Niners of the 80s, the Cowboys of the 90s, and then sort of 2 different iterations of the Patriots, right? There was the early ones, the teams D-Wood was on, and then the later ones, they made 3 straight Super Bowls, and it was the Eagles in the middle who kept them from three-peating.
But we hated all those. Right? Everybody got tired of it, right? Listen, nobody wants to see John Wick 6. You know what I mean? It's all good, man. And nobody wants to know the ending of the story, right? We like to be surprised with the ending, and that's what we're talking about. So when you look at this dynasty, yes, it is a dynasty, but we're just tired of saying we want the underdog. Americans love the underdog, and at some point, every one of these dynasties were the underdog.
But here's the thing. It's one thing to be rooting against them, which I would understand. People would root against those teams and that kind of stuff. And I myself find myself rooting against them. I'd like to see some of these other. I wanted to see Lamar win it. I wanted to see Allen win it. But it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to say, I can't even stand watching them anymore.
Yes.
There is a sentiment out there, and that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom.
Because how many fan bases have had their dreams crushed during this dynasty by the Chiefs? So you building your haters up.
But how many fan bases were crushed by Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the 90s?
Me.
They didn't hate him. I was there. People didn't stop watching them. They drew more people watched that than ever watched anything.
No, Scottie Pippen's my cousin. I cried in the car. I hated him. I wanted him to lose. He's family.
But I'm telling you, I was with those teams. Jordan would get standing ovations on the road routinely, not in the finals.
When Mahomes gets some all-time shoes that I'm going to rock for 20 years, then I like him too.
I think what's underappreciated is their football because they're so in your face in so many other ways. When you think of those Patriot dynasties, what they're known for is do your job. Football is the only thing that matters. I said it in the pre-show, but the Chiefs are the Patriots with more media availability and better marketing agents. And it's like when you think of them, you don't just think of football. You think of Taylor Swift. You think of the commercials. You think of State Farm and all the ways that they are truly enjoying their success. And it feels like people hate that even more than they did when the Patriots were only focused on winning ball games.
You know, sometimes I'm called Buck Nasty, you know what I'm saying, the original hater, you know what I mean?
OG hater, man.
And that's what it is, man. It's like, man, it's overexposure. You can't get away from the Chiefs. You turn your TV, they're there, right? They play. You watch football, they're there. I mean, I think it's a sign of respect that they're so hated. That just means how dominant they are and how much we can appreciate them. But we appreciate them when they're gone, like Greeny.
You don't find it funny? Like most geniuses, I will not be fully appreciated until after my time. You don't find it funny when Andy says fumble-a-rooski or whatever it is that he's doing in that commercial?
I like the commercial where he talked about the nuggies. Where he talked about
I don't know. We'll see. One way or another, it is time to pick this thing as only D Wood can. Welcome to the most dangerous segment. Big man, tiny helmet. Oh, it hit me right in the chin.
Turn to the side, turn to the side.
Oh,